G'day, I'm Paul. Hyundai is just about to launch the new Ioniq 5N. They're actually launching it at the Goodwood Festival of Speed. This here is a prototype version of the Ioniq 5N, and we're in Sweden with Hyundai at the moment because they're doing some fine-tuning on the stability control systems and also giving us a chance to have a bit of a drive of this before we do finally get to drive it in dry conditions as well. So this is going to be a first taste. I don't have a stack of information, so I'll give you everything that I do have, but everything else will come at a later date. Now, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon as well so you can find out every single time we publish new content. Let's hop inside the car and go for a bit of a spin. Okay, so let's do some driving. So I'm going to point out at this stage, this is a prototype still, so it's not a complete vehicle. Means some of the materials and stuff inside the car aren't correct. And in addition to that, I can't show you the screens here, but I can describe what I'm seeing. Now this video, just because we don't have much time to shoot it, we're going to use B-roll, which is just footage that I'm probably not in over the stuff that I'm talking about, but I'll give you as much information as I possibly can. So why are they here in Sweden? Well, it's all about testing on these icy conditions and tuning the stability control, but there are a couple of really cool features here, and we're on this huge sort of big circle on a lake here, and I want to run you through the stability control with the drift optimizer. So right now everything is on just the normal mode, and when you start turning in, it basically will constantly bite and it will constantly just be keeping the car in line. It doesn't give you any fun behind the wheel, and it's designed just like you would expect it to be if you're driving to and from work in conditions like this. And it means that you can be aggressive with it, and then it will bite and stop the car from sort of doing anything too badly. So that's all sort of pretty straightforward. But then what you can do is press the ESC Sport button. ESC Sport gives you the ability to add a bit more throttle and get the car to go sideways. If you then counter steer, it will wait just a little bit longer before it actually brings in the braking to keep the car in line. So this is all pretty standard stuff, and there's nothing sort of too groundbreaking there in terms of how that works. It just does what it says on the box, and it makes you feel like a bit of a hero, but it's pretty safe the entire time. Now, where it gets interesting is the drift optimizer. So it's going to come to a stop here to activate it. Okay, so we'll come to a full stop, switch stability control off by pushing and holding. It comes up saying stability control has been switched off. Then we tick drift optimizer. It gives you a whole bunch of warnings. Okay, so that is active. It comes up the top here saying drift. And in a straight line, you can feel that it's kicking totally sideways. But with this active, I'm able to lean into the throttle, start applying steering lock. But what it's doing, it's letting me go all the way to the limits of the car. And it means that when you are reaching those limits where typically you would lose control of the car, instead of losing control, you just feed it a bit more throttle, a bit more steering angle, watch where you're going, and away it goes. It just basically lets the car continue going around in circles all day long. We're on a surface here that is like barely any traction whatsoever, and I can just stay in it and just feed in steering lock, and it will just keep going sideways. It is an incredible system, and they've done such a good job here to actually tune it and make you feel like an absolute hero as well. Now, another cool feature you can do as well here is actually change the torque distribution. And with stability control off, we can actually go all the way from totally front wheel drive to totally rear wheel drive, or some variation in between. So right now it's set on 80/20. So this is not drift optimizer. This is actually stability control being entirely off. And then it's up to the driver to figure out how it all works. But there's another cool system where you are again in control of the car. You're able to set the settings yourself and tell it exactly what you want to do. And again, it's something that you can't do in a lot of cars. Tesla tried to do it with the Model 3 and it works well there. But here they kind of give you that extra granular control that you don't quite get in the Model 3 as well. So even with everything off, I'm able to just feed in throttle and steering lock, and it will just do everything that it needs to do. And then we can go all the way to, let's go just rear wheel drive. And in rear wheel drive, it is literally just driving a rear wheel drive car on ice, which is hilarious fun. This car is genuinely unreal. I think what they've done here is something to be sort of pretty impressed with. So let's head over to the right hand of the track, and I'll just run you through a couple of the other features that they've got going as well. Okay, so we have moved over to the handling track, and I'll just run you through some of the other stuff that we've learnt about this. Again, we don't know all of the information. I'm just going to feed you as much as I do know. So basically, this sits on a wider track. It's lower. It's got different camber to a regular Ioniq 5. It also has adaptive damping as well, so you'll have different modes that you can run through to adjust how the ride feels behind the wheel. In addition to all of that, it uses an ELSD on the rear axle. So the ELSD is effectively mimicking a full mechanical LSD, but it's electronically controlled, and it means that they can snap it open and close, so that when you do sort of get into a condition where you do want to be feeding torque to that rear axle, it's going to act like a regular LSD. That also gives you the ability to do torque vectoring as well, because you can open and close that as required. I'm going to really switched off here, and this is so much fun. The other interesting feature they've got as well, scanning flick through here. The other cool feature they've got as well is fake gear shifts. So with the pedal shifters on an EV, typically what they're used for is adjusting how much regen you have, whereas here in the other side window, see where we're meant to be coming. Yeah, so typically with EVs, the pedal shifters are used for controlling the amount of regen that you have, whereas here what you're able to do is actually use the pedal shifters to simulate gear shifts, and that gives you a tacho here on the screen. And the tacho is basically like an RPM gauge, and obviously this isn't like an internal combustion car, but they wanted to mimic it for customers so they would feel comfortable with you know, a rev gauge ahead of the driver. And then when you do pull the paddle shifters, you're actually simulating gear shifts, so that the car is basically, you know, shifting gears, which is just a weird phenomenon, but it's something they're trying to do to bridge the gap between an internal combustion car and the end vehicle. So look, Albert Bierman, the bloke that's responsible for engineering all this stuff, he's saying that this is capable of doing 2 laps of the Nürburgring without any degradation, which is pretty incredible for an EV. They're also talking about a new battery chemistry as well that hasn't been available on previous versions of the Ioniq 5 that is fitted to this. So that means they can get better current draw, and also means that has a track mode available to you that you're able to engage to give you that better life on a track, so you can really have it. Yeah, look, it is all pretty impressive. We do have such limited information, so I haven't been able to give you a great deal of detail or show you what any of this stuff looks like, but look, first glance here is this is pretty unreal. It's been awesome to be able to come to Sweden and actually test it out on these surfaces and get a much better feel for how this goes. Like earlier we did some split view testing as well to see what the stability controls were like and how it accelerated using that ELSD, and everything was really impressive. So look, I think they've done a great job. If you do have any questions about it, let me know in the comments section below. I'll answer as much as I possibly can, keeping in mind I don't have much information. I've just been told what I've been told, and yeah, I'll answer whatever I can answer for you without getting into trouble. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure you like it and share it with your mates. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon. I cannot wait to drive this down the track when it is finally released, because it should be amazing fun.